Hello and welcome everybody back to the LWN Network. I am Tammy Nation, your host of Headline Hits, every day here, Monday through Thursday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Today is Wednesday, March 26, 2025. We're winding down the month of March, heading into April, and we know that Donald Trump, our president, has called April 2nd Liberation Day because that is when he is going to change the tariffs where they're reciprocal tariffs, and it's going to change actually the inflow of money, jobs, businesses back into America, and countries are going to incur the same tariffs that they apply on us that they've gotten away with for so many years. And I think that is going to be a game changer in this country for jobs, businesses, and everything. So looking forward to winding down March. It's been a busy March, as you guys know, news-wise. President Trump and his administration has been working diligently, hard, 24/7 to get this country uprighted from the side that it's been leaning on in a negative way for America and the United States citizens that we are. So looking forward to April 2nd, looking forward to what that is going to mean for us. I think it's going to be very positive. So thanks again for joining me. We're going to go ahead and get started on the headline hits for today. Please make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel and share it for us, please. We do appreciate your support and your help. First up, we have President Trump orders immediate declassification of the FBI's CROSSfire hurricane files, all of them immediately. Yesterday, he ordered it to be declassified while the White House advisor William Scharf presented the memorandum to President Trump because in July of 2016, then FBI agent Peter Strzok opened a counterintel investigation into Trump's camp dubbed CROSSfire Hurricane. You guys remember that? It was all based on no evidence and suspicions that the Russians had infiltrated Trump's circle. For years, the DOJ and the FBI resisted the release of the electronic communication used to launch the scam investigation because it revealed the entire spying operation was a scam. The electronic communication that launched CROSSfire Hurricane was written by Peter Strzok and obtained by Judicial Watch as a result of the FOIA lawsuit, which is Freedom of Information Act. The document was previously declassified and released, but it had redactions. The EC revealed Peter Strzok opened CROSSfire Hurricane based on third-hand information that the Russian government had been seeking prominent members of the Donald Trump campaign in which to engage to prepare for potential post-election relations should Trump be elected U.S. president. In 2023, Special Counsel John Durham, remember that name, released his final report concluding the FBI had no verified intel when it opened the CROSSfire Hurricane investigation into Donald Trump in 2016. President Trump declassified a binder on January 19, 2021. The now infamous binder contains hundreds of pages about the CROSSfire Hurricane scandal. It contains damaging information about the corrupt actors involved in our government. In an explosive development in August of 2022, following the FBI's Mar-a-Lago raid, sources close to the high-profile investigation revealed that the FBI's raid on Mar-a-Lago was explicitly aimed at recovering a missing top-secret binder. The document is rumored to contain damning evidence of former President Barack Obama's CIA and FBI involvement in initiating the Russia collusion narrative against President Trump. The binder allegedly has intercepted transcripts made by the FBI on various Trump staff. It has the tasking orders and debriefings of Christopher Steele and Stefan Halper, the FBI's main sources, human sources in that CROSSfire Hurricane scandal. There is a copy of the final FISA warrant approved by the Intelligence Court. It also contains details about Fiona Hill, who introduced Steele to the FBI, and much more. It is believed by many the FBI has wanted these files hidden from the public and even raided Mar-a-Lago to prevent that information from getting to the masses. So looking forward to see what that comes to fruition, what comes out of that as well. Next up, we have DHS Secretary Kristi Noem reveals plans to eliminate FEMA. During a Trump administration cabinet meeting the other day at the White House, Noem spoke about how the DHS had increased deportations by 50% and praised the U.S. courts or U.S. states Coast Guard for doing phenomenal work and breaking historic records in the amount of drug interdictions they have brought in. We are in the month of March. The last couple of weeks increased our deportations by 50%, Noem said. So we're not even getting started in the worst of the worst. We're making sure that there's consequences for being here and committing crimes in our communities. And the numbers are continuing to escalate and to go up. This week, I'm headed down to El Salvador. I'll be in the prison where we sent TDA members. I'll be meeting with the president and also Colombia and Mexico and talking about building these relations so that we can continue to get people out of this country that don't belong here and take them home. Noem added that the U.S. Coast Guard's fleet had been repositioned in order to address the fentanyl crisis and to also go after the southern border and to secure it. The Coast Guard has done phenomenal work. I don't know if you all have reported on it, she stated, but we have broken records in the amount of drug interdictions that they have brought in. We have repositioned the fleet to go after the fentanyl crisis and go after the southern border and securing it, and they've done amazing work as far as that. Noem was asked back in February what she would say if President Trump asked her if she would get rid of FEMA. Noem responded by stating that she would say yes to get rid of FEMA the way it does exist today, and described FEMA as being a bureaucracy that's picking and choosing winners. Noem said, I would say yes, get rid of FEMA the way that it exists today. We still need the resources and the funds and the finances to go to the people that have these type of disasters like Hurricane Helene and the fires in California. But you do need to let the local officials make those decisions on how that is deployed so it can be deployed much, much quicker. And we don't need this bureaucracy that's picking and choosing winners. In January, during an interview with Fox News' Sean Hannity, Trump criticized FEMA for complicating everything and added that the agency has not done their job for the last 4 years. Trump added that he would rather see the states take care of their own problems. And we saw him as he reported from there, all these different disasters and how things were tied up. So this sounds like a good deal and a win-win for these people. It could be you and I at any moment facing these kind of travesties and trying to rebuild our lives. We need this help. We need it quick. Out there, again, this is kind of a disturbing story. Once again, if you have children in the room, I suggest that you have them exit the room. The wife of Minnesota State Senator Justin Eichenn has filed for divorce after his arrest in an underage sex sting. After being charged with soliciting a minor for sex, his wife filed a petition for dissolution of the marriage because around March 11th through the 13th, officers from the Bloomington Police Department and other law enforcement agencies participated in an undercover prostitution operation targeting the solicitation of minors for sexual conduct. We are hearing these stories over and over. These stories are so troubling to me. It just never seems to stop. Eichhorn allegedly first contacted the undercover officer at approximately 9:04 p.m. on March 11th by texting the number in the ad asking if she was available that night. The conversation was engaged in a text conversation with an underage officer posing as a 17-year-old girl. He texted 2 more times before receiving a response from the undercover officer the next day saying she was available. Eichhorn then allegedly asked the undercover officer for her rates and location. So this man asking all of the details. Court documents say when Eichhorn asked how old she was, the officer said she was younger than her ad and was 17 years old. On March 13th, Eichhorn again contacted the undercover officer asking what her rates were and if she was available for half an hour. The conversation continued until the undercover officer did not reply. Authorities say Eichhorn reached out again on March 17th, asking if she was available and her rates. So he was very persistent and intentional on this. Once again, her age was discussed, stating she was 17 years old. He allegedly discussed the age of consent and asked for pictures of her to make him feel more comfortable. Eichhorn was then given an address being used by law enforcement to meet the girl in Bloomington. When he arrived, he was placed under arrest, and officers searched Eichhorn and seized 2 cell phones, a condom, and $129 in cash. The 40-year-old resigned days after police arrested him. Like I said, this isn't a one-time thing. This is an epidemic, it seems, that we're seeing through these years as being exposed, whether it's locally with a senator, or it's federal people, or it's in your own neighborhoods. And getting rid of these sexual predators is vitally important for our children. It is crazy the amount of predators that are out there. It's very disturbing. Next up, we have President Donald Trump's United States Citizenship and Immigration Services is pausing some green cards and applications, including refugees brought to the United States by former President Joe Biden, to better screen and vet applicants. So this is in alignment with Presidential Executive Order 14161, protecting the United States from foreign terrorist and other national security and public safety threats, and the presidential action designing cartels and other organizations designated as foreign terrorist organizations and specifically designated global terrorists. The pause will include hundreds of thousands of refugees brought to the U.S. by the Biden administration, including perhaps some Afghan refugees who are now looking to adjust status and secure green cards. Likewise, some immigrants who secured asylum under the Biden administration have had their green card application processes halted for the time being. In late January, Trump signed an executive order suspending all refugee resettlement to the U.S. after the Biden administration imported hundreds of thousands of refugees and migrants who were given humanitarian parole. Though non-governmental organizations, NGOs, we've heard a lot about NGOs lately, and a lot of federal judges out of Seattle, Washington, sued to prevent Trump from halting refugee admissions. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals will allow the administration to carry out its executive order. Next up, we have Venezuela hit with economic sanctions for purposefully and deceitfully sending illegal alien gang members to the U.S. President Trump, still at it, announced that the United States of America will be putting what is known as secondary tariffs on the country of Venezuela for numerous reasons that include the fact that Venezuela has purposefully and deceitfully sent to the United States undercover tens of thousands of high-level and other criminals, many of whom are murderers and people of very violent nature. We hear Trump talking about that all the time, the people that the Biden administration allowed into this country, and now Trump is getting them out. Trump reported on this Truth Social page and continuing on with his statement about this regarding the gangs they sent to the United States. The Trenda Aruga we've been talking about, which has been given the designation of foreign terrorist organizations. We are in the process of returning them to Venezuela, and it's a big task. There's a lot of them here. In addition, Venezuela has been very hostile to the United States with the freedoms which we espouse. Therefore, and I love this, any country that purchases oil and or gas from Venezuela will be forced to pay a tariff of 25% to the United States on any trade they do with our country. So Donald J. Trump has our backs in many ways through this. All documentation will be signed and registered, and the tariff will take place on April 2nd, 2020, that date we talked about at the beginning of the newscast, which he calls Liberation Day in America. Please let this notification, he says, serve to represent that the Department of Homeland Security, Border Patrol, and other law enforcement agencies within our country have been so notified. Thank you for the attention in this manner. So once again, Trump means business. He's not taking anything laying down, and he's telling people, listen, If you support Venezuela, you're going to pay tariffs because Venezuela has not been good to us. So that's what I mean. He's got our backs. It's multi-level. It's all the way around. It's not just throwing something out there, slapping Venezuela with tariffs and not making other people who wheel and deal with Venezuela pay a price as well. So I love that about him. He's complete. He's thorough. And next up, we have President Trump has just signed a huge executive order to secure our elections. We thought all that was over with. We wanted justification. We wanted change in our voting policies, and we want it to be fair and open and honest, obviously. Well, this EO requires cutting federal funding to states who refuse to take steps to secure elections. Amen to that. DHS resources to be used to ensure illegals are not voting. How about that? In the last administration, illegals were allowed to vote. There was no ID. A citizenship question on the voting form for the first time will be applied. DOJ to vigorously pursue election crimes, especially in the states not compliant with federal law around election integrity. This is a huge, huge EO. The details of this order is read to the president before he signed it included this. We have an executive order for your attention on the very important subject of election integrity. We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls to ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have is available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants are not voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time. This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take responsible steps to secure our elections. Boy, isn't this the complete opposite of the last administration, everyone? This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. He said, I could go on and on for a while, sir, speaking to Trump, but compliance with the National Election Day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's EO Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, sir, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be. So I read the details of this. So you guys, if you did not see him sign the EO yesterday, that you are well aware of what's in the EO. So if anybody comes out and tries to twist it or turn it or corrupt it, you know for a fact what is in there, and then you can look it up if you haven't seen it yourself, because you know that they're going to try to twist it and say all these horrible things that Trump and his administration are trying to do to control all of it. The president himself said, okay, you all understand that. This was his response as he signed the EO. Yes, election fraud, you've heard the term. Well, this will end it, hopefully. At least this will go a long way towards ending it. There are other steps that we will be taking in the coming weeks, and we think we'll be able to end up getting fair elections. How refreshing is that? Perhaps some people think I shouldn't be complaining because we won in a landslide, but we've got to straighten out our elections. This country is so sick because of the election, the fake elections and the bad elections, and we're going to straighten it out one way or another. And it's an honor to sign this one, to sign all of them. But to sign this one, President Trump said, is a great honor. And I agree with that 100%, because this is something that has been plaguing our country for a very long time. And it seems like nobody cares to take care of it. They just say, oh, this is the way it is. This is the best election process that the world has. At least it's better than most people, right? But there are still room for improvement. There's always room for improvement and fairness. And we need to be the leader in that. We need to straighten it all out, no matter how messy or hard it is. I believe that we need to straighten it out once and for all and try to wipe everything out that was bad, come out. I mean, what is so hard about showing ID and having an American U.S. citizen being able to vote. Why does it have to be illegals, no ID? We could go on and on, but you guys are well aware. The reason that it is that way is because of the corruption and because of the people that want to hold on to power and control. And we, the people, when we vote, really, we don't have a say as we vote, do we? If it's not a legitimate election. So I'm all for this, no matter how hard it is, no matter how long it takes. At least we're taking steps to move forward to correct it. So that's what I have for today for Headline Hits, you guys, this Wednesday, March 26, 2025. I will be back again tomorrow with another Headline Hits at noon Eastern Standard Time. I hope you guys can join me. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out, please. Thanks, take care, and have a great rest of your Wednesday. Bye-bye.